Folks, only bad options exist. I'll tell you what I mean and then get into the latest home prices and insights for condos across the GTA for week ending November 19th, 2025. If you want to speak directly with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Often on this channel, we're pulling back the curtain. I want to give you my experiences of being in the field as a realtor, things that I see that sometimes are not bubbling to the surface for everybody to experience. And that's what I'm doing now. More specifically, what I'm going to talk about today deals with people that are closing on their pre-construction now or last year or next year. It's for those group of people, not condo owners that purchased years ago and have owned their condo for a while, and not to anybody today looking to buy resale. They're not experiencing what I'm about to speak about. We went to go look at a condo. I've got a client looking to buy a condo, and it was a fairly nice condo. And shortly after the showing, the listing agent called me and asked me, how did the showing go? Did my client like the condo? And I said, there's some interest there, but we've got more to see, was my response. And he said, well, if your client's not interested in buying it, I'm bringing to your attention that it's also for lease. We're looking to rent out the condo, either sell it or rent it, and it's for rent at $4,000 a month. So that evening, when I got to my desk, I looked it up. And yes, it's for sale. It's for sale and also for rent at $4,000 a month. But they started at $5,000. They're now at $4,000. And when I look at some of the other recent rentals of the similar size in that building, some of the recent rents have rented for between $3,500 and $4,000. So at $4,000, they're at the top end of that. And it's been on the market for rent for almost 2 months now. There's people that have purchased pre-construction a few years ago that over the last couple of years have closed. They're in a situation where the value that they bought it at is far more than what their condo's actually worth today. Some of them have decided to close on it and actually own it. Others are not looking to keep it long term. They're going to bite the bullet one way or another. So they're going to sell it, and they're selling it at a loss, many times a huge loss. Others are looking to rent it, cash flow negative, almost certain, and quite a bit of cash flow negativity every single month. I don't mean that the homeowner, the condo owner's chipping in $50 or $75 a month. I mean hundreds every single month, some over $1,000 every single month they're chipping in cash flow negative. And what I'm here to say is that we're seeing it out there. Just because you decide, hey, I'm going to sell it, doesn't mean it's going to happen, and it doesn't mean it's going to happen anytime soon. Even if you've decided, I'm going to take the loss, I'm going to lose 100, 200, 300, 500,000. I'm going to lose, just sell it, get it off my plate. I don't want to hear about this condo anymore. It doesn't mean it's actually going to sell. That price is going to keep adjusting, and your appetite, or how much are you willing to drop your price to get it to sell, comes to question. And then you could say, and this is what these people are experiencing right now, these people closing pre-construction. Well, if I don't sell it, I'm prepared to rent it. Or let me sell it, let me rent it at the same time. Lots of these sellers are thinking that, which puts out a ton of rentals that we're seeing out there right now. They're also having the same problem. Just because you're choosing to rent it and I'm going to rent it out at a loss, you're prepared to accept that, doesn't mean it's going to rent. You're going to have to play with the price because you're competing with other people, whether you're selling or renting it, with other people maybe in a worse situation than you, or have a larger appetite to deal with the loss than you. Like they're just prepared to lose more than you to get this done. Look, there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the condo market. But from my vantage point, what seems real is for that specific group of condo owners that are looking to sell or rent their unit, it seems like a race to the bottom right now. If you feel this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. And if you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, here we go. If you are looking for data on the condo market across the GTA, you're at the right place. We're going to be focused on condo apartments broken down into areas for the City of Toronto, for York Region, and for Peel Region. These are average sold prices for 3 months. I mostly put this on here so you could see the difference between each region. The average price in Peel is $176,000 lower than the average sold price in the City of Toronto. Yes, these are average sold prices. We're going to start off with the City of Toronto for week ending November 19th. 154 condo apartments were sold. This data does not include condo townhouse, only condo apartments. 154 were sold, 17 of those sold at $1 million or more. So that number, 17, it's quite normal. We see that quite a bit, specifically, especially over the fall market. I put a question mark at, or beside there, 154. It looks like sales are trending down. It's not necessarily a negative thing at this time of year, and this is last year at this time of year. Sales typically do trend down to the end of the year, and then they pick up again the other side of New Year's into January, second, third week of January. Sales tend to trend upwards again. And it kind of looks like sales are trending down, but sales this week are slightly higher than they were the previous week. So I'm not entirely sure if sales have started to trend down or we'll see that in the next few weeks. However, 154 were sold. Average sold price, and I've got the fall market kind of blocked off here. Average sold price is $689,000. There doesn't seem to be much of a direction up or down when it comes to prices for condos for the fall market. As we jumped into the fall market, prices did jump up quite a bit from what we were seeing in July and August, but ever since then, for the fall market, prices have been hovering from the high 600 to the mid 600 in between there. And we're currently at 689,000. 689 is 1% higher than the same week a year ago. The median price of 578 is 8% lower than the same week a year ago. The dotted line, that's a 4-week moving average. And when you look at median price and average price over the previous 3 months, it's kind of flat. Prices really haven't changed that much over the fall period. 154 were sold. 22 of those, so 14%, sold at list price or more. Listings, I think, have started to trend down 498 were listed for week ending November 19th. Active listings, which represents the amount of condos sitting on the market for sale. Currently, we're at 5,246, but active listings as a whole has been trending down over the last few weeks. And when we look at sales, so I'm just going to go back. We said 154 were sold. There's 5,246 sitting on the market for sale. What we're basically saying, of all the properties or the condos for sale, only 2.9% actually sold. That is a very, very low percentage. So out of 100 condos, 3 are going to sell in 1 week. That's not very many. You got to get very creative in standing out if you're going to be on the market. In contrast, just to give you a comparison, for Toronto detached properties, it's double. 6.1% of the available properties for sale actually sold, which is still a low number, but it's double than what the condo market is doing in the city of Toronto. Months of inventory, sitting at 7.9 months of inventory. Pretty clear, we're in a buyer's market. Still, we've been saying that for a while. We're in a buyer's market when it comes to condos in the city of Toronto. When we look at the condo market, and the averages I was just talking about is all condos, all sales. Let's look at it from a 1-bedroom condo perspective versus a 2-bedroom condo perspective. So here we go. 1-bedroom condos sales definitely look like they're trending down. 57 1-bedroom condos were sold for week ending November 19th, and this includes 1-bedroom and the 1-bedroom plus dens. Average sold price has been trending down also. We're currently at 526,000. Months of inventory is 8.9. When compared to last year, 526,000 is 9% lower. Here's the 2-bedroom condos. 83 were sold, so sales jumped up. The 1-bedroom sales look like they're trending down. For the 2 bedrooms, sales really are not moving. 83 were sold. Average sold price, yes, trending down, 791,000. Months of inventory is much lower, sitting at a 6.7 months of inventory. Compared to last year, 791,000 is 2% higher. When we compare the two, the orange, that's the 1-bedroom, the blue, that's a 2-bedroom. Sales, pretty similar. There's a huge difference in average sold price. 526 to 791, that's $265,000 difference in average sold price. Both seem to be slightly trending down, but it is a slight difference buying or selling experience. Months of inventory for 1-bedroom is 8.9, 6.7 months of inventory for the 2-bedroom. Very, very different. Let's look at square footage here. Let's look at the sales that we're seeing based on a square footage basis and then cost per square footage. These are the square footage ranges that you see on the MLS system. The most sales, first place, 500 to 599 square feet, 37 were sold. Coming in a very, very close second with 35 sales is 800 to 899. And then still close with 30 sales is the 6 to 699. But you're looking at average sold prices for the 5 to 599 per square footage between 900 to almost 1100 per square feet. If you go back on this show, every single week we do this chart. There's very few weeks where we actually break more than 1,000 per square foot. We happen to do it this week, but it's very rare that we see something, a group selling at more than $1,000 a square foot. But then you start to get some of these, 800 to 900 a square foot. That's for the 800 to to basically 900 square feet. We're seeing sales that are not necessarily indicative of what a lot of people think. Oh yeah, these lower condos, lower price, they sell so fast. It's not necessarily the case. There's lots of people looking for the larger condos. Let's look at York Region condos. For week ending November 19th, 35 were sold. Average sold price is $605,000 since the fall. Well, we can go back further, but if we just kind of focus on the current market, the fall market, average sold price has been trending down. 605 is 9% lower than the same week a year ago. The median price of 600 is 6% lower. The dotted line, you can see prices, median and average price trending down. 35 were sold, 8 of those, so 23% sold at list price or more. 104 were listed, so we're seeing fewer listings. Active listings are trending down. There's 1,000 condos available in York Region for sale. 3.5% actually sold. Months of inventory sitting at 6.6 months of inventory. Here is Peel Region condos. Sales trending down. Only 15 condos were sold. No condos sold at $1 million or more. Average sold price trending down. We're now at $513. It is slightly up over the last couple of weeks, but overall trending down. 513 is 15% lower year over year. The median price of 475 is 16% lower. 15 we said were sold. 0, none of them sold at list price or more. Active listings trending down, but only just slightly. 1.5% of all available condos for sale across Peel Region actually sold. I'm saying that slowly with emphasis because that is, of any market segment, of any area, that is perhaps the lowest or one of the lowest percentages of sales versus how many units are actually available for sale. 1.5% Peel Region, and this is mostly in Mississauga. York Region, 3.5% are selling. Toronto, 2.9% of the condos for sale actually sold. Here's months of inventory for Peel. We're way up there at 15.4 months of inventory, more than a year and a half. It's a year and a quarter. So when you look at all the months of inventory, no matter how you look at this, there's one thing you should get out of this. Between 3 months and 5 months is a balanced market. North of that, we're in a buyer's market. Every section that you see is in a buyer's market. It's a question of buyer's market or extreme buyer's market. Some of the neighborhoods are in an extreme buyer's market. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.